How we doing, guys? First podcast in Austin.
Doing well, yeah.
Yeah? We all having a good time here?
Absolutely. It's been a great week.
There we go. Well, hey, Steven, also glad to have you on the podcast. This is our first time meeting in person. We chatted a while
Right.
ago, but
Yeah, that's
good,
right. Long
good to meet you in
overdue.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, likewise. No, I'm happy we could make this work.
Well, there we go. So, okay, so for people who don't know who you guys are, Jake, can you give a quick intro to yourself, and then we'll have Steven do the same.
Yeah, so I'm Jake, aka Weedlechamp. I'm the founder of Mutant and Mutant Labs, and we're inventing and innovating SPL 404, trying to make hybrid NFTs a thing on Solana, and hopefully I think they're going to be NFTs 2.0.
There we go.
So trying to bring back the NFT bull run.
Wait, show the head to the camera real quick. We got to make sure they can read
Oh.
it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Make NFTs great
Make
again.
NFTs great again. So that's the mission, right? That's why I get up to work like every single day.
There we go. There we
So-
go. Steven, what about you?
I love it. That's great. So I'm Steven, director at the Metaplex Foundation. I think many folks probably know Metaplex as having introduced the first Solana NFT standard. We now power digital asset products, including fungible token products across the ecosystem. Our primary mission is helping build a decentralized digital asset economy and empowering developers on Solana. So really excited to be here in Consensus and the announcement that we put out, which I'm sure we'll have a chance to get into around MPL 404, along with Jake and the Mutant Labs team.
There we go. Yeah, no, it's such an interesting time in the whole crypto space, in the Solana space in general. I mean, I feel like we've had more big announcements and just exciting things, controversial things. We've had a lot happening in the last few weeks. We'll get into all of it, but I guess I kind of want to jump right into this announcement. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like right now we're seeing a lot of people trading meme coins. We're seeing people doing pump.fun left and right. You know, we got Caitlyn Jenner coming out of the woodworks. We got Paris Hilton made an announcement yesterday, and people automatically thought it was a pump.fun that she was going to be posting. No, she's just putting out a music album. But that's where we're at with things. A celebrity says they have an announcement coming, and we're like, it must be they're dropping a pump.fun link. So what a wild time in the whole space in general. But then on top of that, NFTs is something that is near and dear to all of our hearts, right? And I think it's something that right now a lot of people are asking that question of like, are we going to make NFTs fun again? Because it has been a minute since you've had the rush of minting an NFT and the excitement behind all of that. And so I guess before we jump into the announcement real quick, Jake, for people who don't know, because I feel like a lot of people are hearing the term hybrid DeFi,
Right.
you know, the SBL 404s, and a lot of people are sitting there like, okay, I don't even really get what this means. So can you simplify it for everybody?
Excellent. Well, and it's one of those things that there's a simple way to understand it, and then it goes very deep. But in the simple terms, hybrid DeFi means you could take your NFT, you could trade it for tokens, then you take the tokens, you could trade it back to NFT. So it can exist in both states. Sometimes, depending on what chain and what version, it exists at both states at once. And at SPL 404, you're either an NFT or a token. And what this allows you to do is obviously you get the liquidity from the token side. You can have larger holder distribution from the token side, but you also get a new canvas in this whole swap mechanic where now you could charge a small fee as a creator. And now instead of fractionalization where you get the same NFTs in and out of the escrow pool, you can make it like a mint all over again, right? So when they swap those tokens for the NFT, you get the excitement of, oh, I can get an ultra rare. Oh, maybe I can get like a seasonal trait. Oh, there's only 5 of these this month, and then it's never coming back again, right? So it opens up this big canvas for creators to play in, and also a new revenue stream for creators. But it really adds like this whole loot box gamification into NFTs, and we think it's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, honestly, it reminds me a lot of like sports trading cards. And I'm like, what if you could open up a pack and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not a gigantic fan of what I got in this pack. Let me pay a little fee and I get to re-roll, open up a fresh new pack, see what I get. Maybe you get a rare, maybe you get something you don't like again, and maybe you want to re-roll it again. Like the possibilities are kind of endless with it. That's what gets me excited about it. Because I think right now, looking at like meme coins and all of that, to say that like all of a sudden all the liquidity from meme coins is going to come right back to NFTs, to me is asking a lot. People are enjoying that. It's
not going to happen.
Yeah. People are enjoying the meme coins. So why not marry the two ideas, make it where people can still do the trading of the coins and everything like that because they do love that so much. But then also we love, like, here's the thing. If people didn't love NFTs, and this is the part that I think there's always people that are like, NFTs are dead, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, so why is your PFP still an NFT? Like, if they're truly dead, why do you care that much? And it's because it is the greatest representation of a digital community that we have. And we all know and love, like, when you see somebody rocking a different PFP, whatever, whether it's a project you like or you have a respect for them, for that community that they're in and their kind of role in the ecosystem. And so, again, I think this is just a way of making the whole NFT process exciting again, but also saying, hey, we recognize that this meme coin trading is not going away. It is fun. We're all enjoying it. When we win, when we're all, when we take some profits, but but still, you have to find a way to make both things exciting, and I think this is a great way to do it.
Well, think about it this way, right? In an NFT community, generally there's a channel for meme coin trading, right? So you could talk about all the different meme coins you're trading, and they usually do that in the community surrounding their NFT and their PFP, right? Because if you go to a meme coin channel, they don't want you to talk about other meme coins, right? So it's not the same type of community.
Yeah.
So there are massive differences, but there's also more opportunities to like reimagine what NFTs are, because NFTs are not going to come back the same way they did in 21 and 22, right? The same tricks that worked then are not going to work now. And so reimagining what the whole experience is going to be like, it's going to be key to keeping these digital asset communities alive.
100%.
And I think community is the key concept. Like when we look at the most successful NFT projects, like they've been able to build long-term durable communities, and we're seeing the same thing around meme coins. Now it's true that like 99% of both meme coins and NFT projects are going to have issues and won't be successful, but the ones that are successful are actually building on-chain communities. And what we saw last cycle is this meta of staking NFTs for a token, because then the project has all of the advantages of a fungible token. You get distribution into DeFi infrastructure and to exchanges, and the awareness from that. And traders like trading meme coins because they're more liquid. But then you create the second problem, which is you've been trying to drive value to your NFT project, and now you have a token, and you have to now figure out a way of driving value to that token. And so hybrid DeFi is really the natural evolution. It's the synthesis of what has been successful with meme coins and what we've seen successful with NFT projects. And then there are these really interesting opportunities that emerge from this new concept, like the trait re-rolling, which I think solves another really important project or problem for NFT projects, which is like the floor just being like the same 10, 20 NFTs. And this allows that floor to be more dynamic and will, I think, create like what's, a forever NFT mint that people can always come back and basically take another shot at the candy machine to see what they get.
100%.
It's going to create like the strongest possible collection over time. And it's going to solve things like, every NFT project that has genders, right, has this problem of like, how many female NFTs do I make, right? And it turns out nobody is Nostradamus. We all get it wrong, right? So creators, I talk to creators every single day. They just pull these numbers out of their hat and they're estimating, right? But it'll never be right. But what if you had a self-balancing feature through the swap? So now everybody could find their forever PFP, right? So now the number of female PFPs is equal to the number of people who want a female PFP, right? So it just solves like that problem. It solves other problems too, such as, traits people don't want, right? So anyways, there's a lot of exciting stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, I think exactly that, because I remember when I was, my last mint that I was like really, really, really excited about. There's been a few, but the one that I was really big excited about was Utes. And there was one trait that I was like, God, I just don't want this one trait. And 2 of my 4 had that trait. And obviously, if I had the ability to re-roll, like I would, right?
Right.
And so, again, it's like, I think that idea of like being able to find that like perfect PFP for you, and if you're not a huge fan, then you can go and keep re-rolling until you find the one, allowing you to add new traits and things like that. I think that does make it really exciting. I think right now, what people are looking for is they're looking for that first huge success when it comes to SPL 404s, right? And like what you guys have done with Mutant is great, right? But I would say for you guys, like, do you look at Mutant as like a as a PFP collection? Do you look at it as like, because I do think it's like it's going to take that first really big PFP collection
100%.
that will make people go, okay, SPL 404s are the next thing.
Yeah, so no, we actually see Mutant as both like a testing ground for all this technology and to like kind of showcase it to the world what it could do. But it's going to be like a GameFi project like over time, right? We're building a game, the Mutant have attack, defense, health, stuff like that. So no, we don't view it as a PFP project. And I agree with you, like we're really waiting for that really big project to blow it up and to get that like outsized success, right? I think some of the projects we're working on have an opportunity to do that, potentially like Gogonauts. But also like with Mutant, right? We learned so much from that project, right? There's, doing something for the first time is hard. And then you bump your head into all these different things like, oh, what do centralized exchanges want to see? Oh, the token 22, the liquidity layer there is like not very developed. It's not very integrated into the ecosystem, right? So you have limited choices. And how does that affect, people trading you on BonkBot, things like that, right? So we've bumped our head on so many different problems and have been fixing them, whether that's, oh, how do we get listed on Magic Eden or Tensor, or that the metadata doesn't show up appropriately inside of wallets. Like all these things we had to figure out, and we were only able to do that by pioneering and being that first SPL 404. So, I hope that obviously SPL 404 makes NFTs great again and that it's NFTs 2.0 and that history will remember Mutant as being the pioneer.
100%. Yeah. So Steven, I want to know from Metaplex's side of things, when you guys are looking at kind of how the NFT space has changed over the last like year or so, was there cause for concern? Was it like, were you kind of waiting for that hybrid DeFi to kind of, I guess like, did you guys have an idea that, oh, maybe this is something that will end up developing? Or I guess like, what was the thought over at Metaplex?
We've always been long-term believers in on-chain community building, and that has been the killer app for NFTs in our view. Digital art and gaming as well, I think, are the other major use cases that we've seen for NFTs. And of course, like we get concerned alongside everyone else in the community when we see liquidity, volume, and attention moving away from crypto. And I think that we would all be naive and not acknowledging like how much of a hit our industry took over the last couple years reputationally, that in terms of just all the fraud and craziness that we saw from the last cycle. And the crypto communities that have been and creators that have been running these projects went through this really tough bear market. And I think now that we've come back into a phase where it almost feels like, officially when you have a week where there's like 5-6 celebrities that are dropping projects, you're like, well, at the least like things are changing a bit, right? And the tempo is changing. But the attention from traders and the liquidity is all moving to meme coins. And like you can see that in the data. Like in Q4 of last year, you roughly had the same number of wallets that were trading meme coins that were trading NFT projects. It's a couple 100,000. And then you look to last month and it's 3 million wallets that are trading meme coins, and it's still a few 100,000 NFT projects. So it's not that NFTs have gone away. Like you actually see some marginal increase in activity and usage and interest. But clearly traders are gravitating towards meme coins, and then those meme coins are starting to become the foundation for that community building process. And so we're really excited about hybrid DeFi because it provides an option for existing NFT collections to create their own tokens without creating additional supply and diluting the value of their community. But beyond that, like that's literally what we think of, like we wake up and think about every day, which is like, how do we actually like move the ball forward? And I think really what it's going to take is like starting to like build communities outside of crypto. I think the existing NFT projects have been successful at building community within the community of people that are building within crypto. Like it's very kind of insular in a sense. And I think that when we really see mainstream adoption, it's going to be, sports leagues and, it will be celebrities with their own communities, and you'll have, different language markets. It won't all just be in English, that you'll see community building and local communities using on-chain assets to build their communities. And I think that's really like the test for us in this cycle is can we create something that will actually bridge and appeal to people outside of crypto and that invites them into that experience.
100%. I think that is so important because I think when people think of crypto, when they think of NFTs, I think a lot of people think of the scams that generate the headlines that the rest of the normies get to see, right? And I think about, I guess the part that I'm the most excited about from the last year is the amount of great content that we've started to derive, right? Like we've got people like Thread Guy, we've got people like Amy Street, OG. We've got so many great people who are creating really, really awesome content. And I think when you've got that, people like Soul Jakey, people like Ash, and people like Solana Steve, people like, God, I got to mention so many names. Rasmer has come out of the clouds lately, and he's been incredible. There's Ansem has brings a spicy level to things, right? Like, and so I think with it, Sonny Mons has been doing his thing. And actually, I give Sonny a lot of credit of one of the things that he's done is from the time I've met him is that he takes a lot of his like crypto journey when he's traveling to different places with D-Gods and Killer Threes or whatever he's doing, he documents it on Instagram. Before I ever saw any other like Web3 creators do that. And what that does is it causes other people to go, what are you doing? Because like your life seems really fun. So like, I just want to know what you're doing. Like, why are you in these different cities? Why are you at, we're at a nightclub last night. We got the D-Gods, on the screen, right? Like, why is that, right? And I think that causes the normies to ask questions. And I think that's one of the biggest roles of great content is it causes people to go, what's going on and why, and like, why, like what am I missing basically? And so I think then at the same time, if we're elevating voices like both of you guys have, who are incredibly intellectual people who are building great things in the space, and we can kind of say, hey, here's what you need to pay attention to. Here are the voices that you need to listen to and things like that. We can start to drown out some of the bullshit, some of the, scammers that are out there and things like that. And we're also elevating a lot of these content creators who can then call out when there are scams, right? And so even taking into consideration, like Caitlyn Jenner comes out last week, launches a coin, right? And immediately there were a lot of questions that people had, right? Who's this dev that you're working with? Immediately people were like, we think you're getting scammed. She was like, I don't think I am. Sure enough, soon after, she was like, holy shit, I got scammed. We're like, okay, but she's learning. And I kind of thought, I was like, you know what? She might post about this for a day or two and then be out of here. She's bull tweeting. She might be. I think Caitlyn Jenner might be a Web3 creator now. Like I think that might be how she introduces herself. And so then you've got Iggy Azalea comes out of the clouds, and she again same thing. I was like, man, this is that Salil dude back at it again. And then she's in Twitter Spaces and she's talking to people. She was roasting people. It was like she's like, yeah, my brother was mining Bitcoin back in the day. I was like, okay, like, and so it's like. And I'm not stating that that's the greatest meta in the world. I'm not stating that we need every celebrity known to mankind. Okay, we saw Antonio Brown also drop a pumped out phone. We don't need that. Okay, sorry, AB, we don't need that. We had Trippie Redd who said he was gonna drop something. I don't even know what happened. But like, I think what it is. The tech of Solana, people are noticing that it is really cool. You can do a lot of great things with it and a lot of things that doesn't take a genius to understand. Pumped out fun is not something that you have to be a rocket scientist to figure out, right? But it is a lot of fun. And I do think what we're going to see is some of that mainstream adoption kind of come into that and go, hey, this is a really fun casino, more or less, on pumped out fun. You can make a lot of money. You can lose a shit ton of money, but it's a fun thing to do. And if that onboards them into Solana, if that onboards them into crypto and things like that, then it's up to us to capture that attention and say, hey, now, okay, you've experienced the degenerate side of things. Now let's show you everything else that we're doing, right? Let's show you the payment processing. Let's show you all the different things that we can do. Let's show you, all the very, very cool things. And then, hey, come out to our events, meet the people who are actually building the tech that you're utilizing. And again, then when we document it, when we show the people the fun that we're having, it causes them to ask questions. And so slowly but surely we can turn around that narrative that like crypto and Web3 and NFTs are a bunch of scam artists and bullshit. It's not. It's just that's what's generated the loudest headlines. And we're doing the work to help change that. So, that's my kind of my rant for a second. I don't even know if I have a question off that, I guess.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, this week was insane. Like it was the Caitlyn Jenner drop where it seemingly she was rugged by her own dev and then is on Twitter like referring to her holders as shareholders and talking about how the price is going to go to infinity. And then Iggy appears to have had the same dev, realized it, got out, but then launched the token and then had her own token botted.
Yeah.
And then the people that botted the drop are dumping, and so people think she's dumping, and it's like no one knows exactly what's going on. And then I think it's DeVito, another artist who launched like last night, and he's on Spaces and he doesn't know what Phantom Wallet is. Is getting onboarded by Vib from in Ansem. And like I think the question we have to ask ourselves as a community is like, is there a right way for celebrities to enter the space? And I think like if you believe in mainstream adoption, like the high conviction answer has to be yes. And that's a huge opportunity for all the people that you just mentioned and many of us that work in the space to step up and actually provide solutions and services to celebrities and brands that are entering the space and understand how to do that in a credible way. And as we all know, that like generally means like maybe actually like enter the community, get to know the community before you launch your own project, like first off. And then really thinking about how you want that community formation process to happen, and like who are the key kind of players of that community, and what's your vision long term. I think hybrid DeFi does provide part of that solution set. I think what we'll see is many of these meme coins, like the first act is the meme coin, and maybe there are benefits, like maybe there are token gated experiences based off of your holdings of that meme coin. And then in month 2 and 3, there's an NFT collection, and you can use the meme coin to mint your NFT collection. But like these strategies need to be like multi-month, arguably multi-year, and they have to be started in the right way. Because if you make some of those mistakes early on, it's not completely, over, but it becomes really difficult to recover. And I think the folks that work in the space day to day have a lot to share and a lot of value that they can provide to these people as they come into the space.
Yeah, I think
I was just say it can be done right. So I have a normie friend, Brad. He has very, very few NFTs. He bought NFT for me in 2021, but he has one NFT that he really loves, and it's a Avenged Sevenfold NFT.
Okay.
So it gets him like a free concert, backstage passes, tickets early. Like he's like met the band multiple times, and this dude loves like metal music, loves Avenged Sevenfold, and he gets a lot of value out of this NFT. So this is like exactly what we'd want for a community building, right? And I don't know what that looks like for Caitlyn Jenner. And I don't know what that looks for Iggy Azalea. I mean, for Iggy, probably somewhat similar, right? But that's why I'm bullish on like Gogonauts, not to shill for a second. But the whole idea of Rove, which is the company behind Gogonauts, is to bring these celebrities and creators into Web3 the right way and to help them with ticketing, token gating, things like that, and to show them that like you could build a real community here that's durable over time, right? And celebrities or creators, just like everybody's trying to cut out the middleman, right? There's so many middlemen in Web 2, right? And part of the whole reason I'm in Web 3 is because in 21 I heard the story of we're going to cut the middleman out. You're going to have a direct your relationship with like your followers, right? And that's the opportunity for Caitlyn Jenner, for Iggy Azalea, for Trippie Redd. So I hope they get to that point and don't just stop at we made a meme coin. You know what I mean? I hope they could see the larger vision here of what we're trying to accomplish, or at least what I'm in the space to accomplish.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think the possibilities are kind of endless with it. I think when I think about, most of us are scarred by like the 2021 experience of like Soulja Boy coming in, launching an NFT. It goes to shit immediately. It's rugged immediately. Like they didn't even try. I mean, it's like the Discord's gone after a day, like all those sort of things. And with those, to be fair, most of those celebrities really had no true involvement outside of like, hey, we'll pay you X amount to tweet X, this thing. They tweet it out. They don't even realize what they're probably even doing, right? Their manager's clueless. They don't know the term NFT in 2021, right? And so, it's like, and I'm not saying that absolves them of all being guilty there. They're still guilty, but the reality of it is now we have a lot, like the NFT market, the whole space in general is a little bit more built out. And so it's a little bit easier, I think, for us to educate a lot of these people. And I think that's when we can create some really cool things. Cause I think about, okay, like Dogecoin is the biggest meme coin ever created, right? Well, if Dogecoin was somehow associated with like a celebrity meme, right? Like one of my favorite celebrity memes is the one of Ben Affleck where he's like looking dead exhausted and he's like got a cigarette and he's like looking up and he's just like the man is in pain, right? And it's like if you had that as a meme coin, right? And I could just post that meme all the time, like a little cutout of Ben in random ass, circumstances, that would be something that I would probably buy because it would be funny to me. And I think about that and I'm like, okay, so why can't it be that one of these massive, billion-dollar, trillion-dollar, whatever market cap coins is associated with a celebrity? That's the easiest person who can gain attraction to it or attention to it, right? But with that, you have to find somebody who truly wants to like actually build that out and really wants to put in the legwork to create long-standing value to that and long-standing, like really lean into the meme of it, really lean into the content of it and things like that. But with that, a celebrity can also make far more money doing that because if you are, if you buy a shit ton, whatever, and you're like, hey, you know what? If Elon buys a shit ton of Doge and then just tweets out Doge all the time, he's going to make a bag, right? Like now, I don't know how, I'm not the lawyer who has to figure out when he's allowed to sell and when he's not allowed to sell. But again, you are able to bring the attention to the coin if you want to, right? So who knows? Maybe they launch a coin. Maybe it's directly associated with that artist. Maybe over time they do actually create it. They turn it into a 404, and now all of a sudden you can take a certain amount of those tokens, turn it into an NFT. Now their fans can represent that they actually hold that token. Maybe they do then token gate something. They work with Amy over at Rove, and they do something cool with that. Like I do think the possibilities are there. I think we're going to have to go through the trials and tribulations of this. I do think we're going to have a lot of rugs. I think we're going to have a lot of scams with it. But again, I feel like with anything, we're a very new space. The crypto space in general is, 13 years old? Like, that's, in the grand scheme of things, nothing, right? And so we have to go through kind of the ugly to get to the good. And I think right now, the biggest difference between 2021 and 2024 is we have people now with much greater voices that speak up, call out the bullshit, and can help educate people. We had Caitlyn Jenner and Iggy Azalea who've been tweeting nonstop, Antonio Brown, and I think last week, at one point in the same hour, I got a response from Iggy Azalea, Caitlyn Jenner, and Antonio Brown, all in like the same hour. And I was like, it's pretty wild that you get actual responses from them, or, sometimes you think a manager, who knows, but like, again, you're able to get a hold of them. And so if we can take somebody, help educate them, just like Vib's been trying to do, just like I've seen Amy do, then we can actually start to educate these people and turn this into a positive and change the narrative of what people think of when they think of crypto and everything like that. So I do think there's a positive there. Going back to Go-Go-Nuts for a second, I think, one of the things that I talked about with Amy when she first called me about Go-Go-Nuts, I was like, Amy, tell me that you've got a meme that's going to go with it, that's going to be a banger. Because if you've got that, then you're going to be able to create the excitement around the actual token and people are going to want to buy that. If the token goes up to 40, 50 million market cap, well, then people are going to want to rock the NFT because it just makes a lot of sense, right? So she starts telling me about it. She starts telling me about knots and kind of the, whole point behind that and the meme behind that. And I was like, hey, I can see this really working. And that got me excited because, again, I think when it comes to the NFT market for, back in 21, 22, all of that, I think people just got tired of like the over exaggerated, like, we're going to be the next Disney. And it's like, okay, you know how many companies have said they're going to be the next Disney? Like, not NFT projects, just other companies in general. And, every one of them has failed. So,
Well, and you know what? The economic model for NFTs before didn't even allow for that, right? Like, forget the fact that that's like some crazy pie in the sky. Like, we're nowhere near an NFT project being the next Disney or the next Pixar or whatever. NFTs have like a fundamental problem of scaling, right? And I mean, not to go too technical into like 404s right now, but that's part of what we're trying to solve with 404s in the hybrid model, right? So if you're backing all your NFTs by a coin, you can actually scale the number of NFTs to everybody in your community, so long as the number of coins remains stable, which I know maybe sounds complicated, but essentially it's a way that, right now NFTs launch collection 1, collection 2, collection 3, right? And every time you launch a new collection, your existing holders are like, damn, you just increased the supply. Generally, when you increase the supply, if there's not enough demand, price goes down, right? So it's a feel-bad moment for everybody involved. But with 404s, you can actually increase the supply of the NFTs, but so long as you don't increase the supply of the tokens, like you can actually scale to have, let's say, 100,000 like people in your ecosystem, right? Like before we talk about Disney, like a billion people love Disney around the world. Like, how about we just get NFTs to 100,000 or 250,000 people in their community, right? Like, Bonk itself has over 700,000 people in the community, right? People wonder why meme coins get to multi-billion-dollar market cap and NFTs struggle to get past, double-digit millions. And that's because they just don't scale, right? So back to like, how does Taylor Swift, right, who has, millions of Swifties around the world, right? Now she can launch a coin. She can have the NFT identity piece, right? Because that's what we were talking about when we talk NFTs a lot, is how the differentiated meme coins is there's an identity, right? And you'll notice that some of the best meme coins, whether it's the Mog glasses or the Whiff hat, whatever, the things people can kind of use to showcase their identity. So they'll put the hat on their PFP, they'll do all this like Photoshop magic, right, to make it happen. But how do you get people to have that identity, have the NFT, and scale that to all the Taylor Swift fans in the world?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that right there is what like sells me on it, because you're essentially talking about you have multi-tiers, right? And like we've used tiers for so many different things. If you're flying home, you have a tier in your plane, right? Of like, hey, you're either in first class, you're in business class, you're in economy, you're in, whatever, right? And so again, like tiers is not a foreign concept. That's a thing most people are used to. And so then a representation of tiers is also, we're used to that too. You get on the plane, you see what the first class is, you see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, again, these are not foreign things. This is just taking what already people are accustomed to and saying, hey, let's just implement some of that into crypto and NFTs and things like that. And those are easier things for other people to understand. I think that's what we're going to get into in this next year, 2 years, and things like that, is really simplifying a lot of this and making it more understandable to the normie, which is, I think, again, one of the biggest things that Solana does different is, yeah, you don't have to explain to them $400 gas. Sorry, ETH, like that. I mean, like that's a pain in the ass. That's a difficult sell, and that's why we're seeing more and more people come into Solana, enjoy the experience. And yes, there are still plenty of use cases for Ethereum, plenty of use cases for Bitcoin and things like that. But when you talk about fast transactions and wanting the ability to scale quickly, the easiest one for that is Solana.
Shout out PayPal, shout out MasterCard. Out with their support for Solana. So excited about that. So you want to get into the announcement?
Yeah, let's get into the announcement. Let's do it.
Excellent. So Steven, you want to lead us off?
Sure, happy to. So this week we announced MPL 404, which is a next-gen standard and framework for hybrid DeFi on Solana. It will enable both existing NFT collections that want to launch their own token without, again, diluting their community to launch. And so we're really excited to be able to provide a first-class implementation working with Jake and the Mutant Labs team and being able to benefit from everything they've learned with Mutant over the last several months. It will also support Core, which is our new digital asset standard, our non-fungible standard, which is 80% cheaper, 80% more compute efficient than the token metadata standard. So we're really excited to be able to both support the existing communities and benefiting from this new technology, while at the same time also integrating the latest and greatest so that new projects launching can really benefit from those systems as well.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the partnership, obviously. So from our point of view, we're contributing to the SPL 404 swap program, but we also have a lot more, that tech, frankly, we did 3-4 months ago, right? When we launched Mutant, that was state of the art. And actually the things that we see over the horizon on things that we want to build and the low-hanging fruit where we could think we can make hybrid NFTs even better. Like, I'm really excited to partner and to contribute that long term so that everybody can use it. In the last several months, obviously we've been, only able to help so many projects on board at SPL 404, and now we're able to take those learnings and we're able to externalize them, right? Have the best possible program, best possible experience. But we were talking about meme coins, and the reason I wanted to bring our partnership up is, having an easy way for a meme coin to now have this identity piece, right? And it's going to be available through Metaplex, and people are just going to be able to pick it up, right? A smart dev, as well as like more tooling will come along. So the meme coins will hopefully shift, right? It won't be such a big lift to move to SPL 404. And it's not saying that the NFTs have to have some crazy utility or crazy roadmap, whatever, but it's going to allow these, really visual, iconic meme coins, like, you know, you think of Pepe, you think of Mog, you think of, you know, Chonky, you know, to have this kind of like visual aspect, right? And for people to see, like, you know, talking about creators like KOLs, right? A lot of them say like, hey, I'm buying this, hey, I'm buying that, right? You're never really sure like what they actually own. You know, when they say they buy, are they really selling and whatnot, right? But if you see somebody has their NFT and the, you know, it represents some amount of tokens, you can be confident that they actually are in it for the long haul, or, you know, they have something to show for, right? So they're able to say like, really, I stand on this and I'm part of the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super exciting, and I'm gonna throw out an idea. Maybe you guys have already thought about this, but like maybe you have some sort of NFT that also includes a vesting period, so it locks up their tokens too. Like where there's a certain period of time where like they're basically saying, because you do see it in a lot of the large meme coins, especially I've seen it a ton in Mautai, where people are like, hey, I have my tokens locked up for 6 months, and I'm one of the largest holders. And yeah, if I see that, I'm like, okay, well, that makes me far more like interested in, you know, in holding that coin, because I trust that the whales are not just gonna dump on my head, right? So who knows? That could be another thing that you guys implement. You know, I might have given I don't know, live brainstorming on the podcast here, but
this is the magic, right? Like
yeah.
You get to benefit from both sides. You get like all of the NFT infrastructure, like the staking systems and borrowing and lending programs, and then on the other side, you get access to all of this DeFi infrastructure. So I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting mechanics that are like playing on the edges of those two, for sure.
Yeah, and like, I'm excited partially to partner with you so that we can encourage innovation in the whole space, because like it's gonna take more than just me and you, or like our teams collectively working on this to make this the platform for all NFTs, for all digital communities going forward, right? So it's like we need everybody in the space to innovate and to start seeing these ideas through, right? And that's how we're actually gonna create, you know, a sustainable ecosystem where we can pull in those Web2 people when we've tried to solve these problems, right? And right now it seems like, you know, unfortunately, there's not as many people as I would like to see trying to innovate to make NFTs great again and to keep that spirit alive.
Yeah, and I think that's why when I think about projects like Gogonauts, like the reason why I get excited about that is because when I think about like the early days of Solana NFTs, right? When you're thinking about like Monkey DAO, when you're thinking about DAA, some of these projects that we know and love still to this day, it's like those projects innovated at a time where people weren't really like experimenting with Solana. People didn't even know Solana really at the time, right? And so now you think about Gogonauts and what they're doing, and it's like, yeah, have we had a huge success yet in SPL 404s? A gigantic success? No, we haven't yet. But why can't Gogonauts be that? And if you go and you mint that, and then you're giving your feedback on kind of what they built out, the PFPs, if you're giving, you know, the whole tech element of things, the, you know, switching back and forth between the NFTs, the re-rolling, all of that, if you're giving your feedback, you are help leading the charge to the next generation of what NFTs are going to look like. NFTs are not dead. Like that concept is a broken idea. We are iterating on them and making them better, and that's what we should do, because there's no way that we launch NFTs in whatever it is 2021 and then we're just like, yep, we nailed it from the jump, like there's nothing that we can do better with this is it, it's like, no, we have to keep innovating, we have to give our thoughts on it, we have to keep pushing the envelope of what is possible. So yeah, if somebody's looking at SPL 404 right now and they're like, oh, I just don't really see the excitement in it, yada yada yada, that's fine. I understand the kind of apprehensiveness about it, and I also understand that you're probably likely right now to go throw $5K into a meme coin. But like, why not try something different? Give your feedback on it. Be an early adopter of new tech, because again, we're going to receive, and this is one of my easiest bull cases for NFTs in the next year or so, is we have more and more people coming into the crypto space right now every single day, and they're coming directly into Solana, which is super exciting. With that, those people are coming in. I was on a phone call the other day with a guy, and he's like, you know, I've been in crypto now for a little bit. He's like, I actually got onboarded through Andrew Tate, which is crazy. I was like, what I expected to hear was not that. He's like, I took his class, I did that, and he's telling me all about all this DeFi shit he's doing, and I was like, dude, low key, he's got a great system going. I was like, and he's like, I'm never on Twitter. I don't know any of these people that you're mentioning, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, dude, the fact that you've learned all of this actually from like YouTube videos and Andrew Tate is crazy to me, right? And I was like, but okay, that next evolution, I was like, when you get into, you want to get more into NFTs, you want to get more into meme coins, those sort of things. If you want to get more into kind of some of the degeneracy and the things that we do, if you want to get into the IRL events, all of that, NFTs are the easiest way to do that. You join a project, your ability to reach out to people, connect with them, and things like that is so much easier. And so, obviously, I'm a little biased. He's like, which project do I buy? I was like, obviously, DGOT. So he bought one while we were on the phone, right? And so it was like, that was an onboarding experience in a 20-minute phone call. And now, the ability to, I was like, hey, we got Bitcoin Nashville coming up. It's going to be a great time. Come out to that. We got Solana Summerfest coming up. Come to that. And he's like, yeah, I'm down. Again, it's like that onboarding process through the NFTs. Now he'll come into that. Now he starts spreading the word about the fun he's having. You onboard more people. It's like that whole onboarding process is completely different from what it was like in 2021. And like it's gotten exponentially better. And now if we can take kind of, all these people are coming in for the meme coins. Okay, cool. Let's keep them here by showing them all the communities, all the cool things that we can do with all of this. And that's where I think, again, NFTs aren't dead. They're evolving into a really, really good thing. And we have to go through these periods of like where people are like, hey, this is kind of fucking boring. Let's innovate again. And now we're innovating. That's exactly what you guys are doing. And that's what gets me excited.
100%. I mean, people will say NFTs were dead. But they clearly like weren't in the Cyber Frogs Discord. They weren't in the Monkey DAO Discord. They weren't playing Aurori or Star Atlas or Neon Heroes. Like these communities, I would argue, like kept the network together. Like when it came under its most intense pressure test, and then at the same time, these communities were then the foundation in which these meme coins launched. Like Bonk was largely successful because it was able to strategically get NFT communities airdrops and aligned with the community that they were building.
And they burnt some too, so
that helps.
Hey, listen, greatest narrative I've ever seen, though. I mean, I was 10x more bullish on it when they burnt the tokens I would have received. I was like, yeah, I love it. I love
the DGOD.
Yeah.
That's true. I feel like I should have gotten partial credit for leaving my DGOD on Solana, but
there we go. Well, then we give you all the credit. There we go. We're right here. We'll give you the credit.
Get some L token, maybe. But yeah, so I think like I don't think NFTs ever died. I think NFTs, in fact, were the social layer that kept the network together and has allowed in many ways for this resurgence. Of course, like incredible credit to the core engineering team and everyone who's building that fundamental infrastructure. But I think the NFT creators and the communities really stuck through the bear market and have now given us the opportunity to really take Solana to that next level, like the promise that I think everyone was chasing in the last cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I think about like, okay, from when FTX happened, right? All of a sudden, it's like when you think about the NFT role in that next year and a half, right? You got first Frank, who puts out some of the worst tweets of all time, but gives Solana people the ability to just say "fuck you" to Frank for solid
utility.
Literally has not ended. They're still saying it, and so it gave people enough hate to go. You know what? Bonk just came out. We love this. We're just gonna rep the hell out of this, and we're just gonna keep telling Frank, "Hey, look, we got Bobby who every day posts, hey, this is how much DGOD's airdrop would have been worth if Frank hadn't left Solana." And so it's like you get all of that. You get Easy, who runs his like gigantic space when FTX happens. You get Klanos that drop some of the coolest art we've ever seen on Solana all during that bear market, right? You have so many different things that have happened. You have all the IRL events. You've got Soul Jakey making some of the craziest content we've ever seen. We've seen Mad Lads doing their thing. We've seen so many different projects and people who are making a ton of content, things like that. We see, even like the random drama every once in a while on the timeline, it keeps people talking. And so NFTs, again, when you have anything with DGODs creates spice on the timeline. People are talking about that. You got Yuga that puts out an announcement, causes controversy. People are talking about that. And so it's like, again, when people think about the last bear market, I've been in crypto for 8 years. This last bear market was the most exciting bear market I've ever experienced because at least it kept you there. There were times, I mean, again, I got into crypto in 2016. There were times where I'll be like, I don't need to talk about this shit for the next year because there's nothing I need to even think about, right? And I didn't. And so it was like, now you think about the last, whatever it's been, like 2 years now, I was entertained this entire time. Didn't mean it were all great days. FTX sucked, but like, at least during that time, you had the communities to kind of go back to talk to kind of go, hey, we're going to make it through this and we're going to have fun while doing it. We still went to NFT New York. We still went to Art Basel. We still went to all these different places. People are in Dubai, on rafts getting through this stuff. It's like, so, it's like the NFT communities keep this shit alive when it feels like it's dead. And then when it is really, really exciting, well, we all get to celebrate together. And there's nothing more fun about that. So again, when people are like NFTs are dead, I'm like, brother, have you been paying attention for the last 2 years? Like NFTs kept us going during all of this.
Absolutely. And again, I just think it's a metamorphosis period, right? Like NFTs are going to change, but the social layer, right? Like that's going to be there even stronger as we go forward, right? Like it didn't break during the worst times, right? And it's only getting stronger and stronger and stronger by the day. And I think the identity piece that NFT gives you, it's necessary, right? And now it's going to change though, because it's going to get the liquidity and the distribution that the token side has, right? So it's going to be funny actually calling these NFTs anymore because they are such different sort of assets, but there's still ways to get kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think about too, like the last like year and a half, 2 years, when NFTs first became like a major thing, the mass majority of this space was not doxxed, right? I think my first like 10 podcast episodes were somebody with a mask on, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, which was a real joy to edit. Let me tell you, you just could hear the clank of their mask as they were talking, and then they would just be sweating to death. These lights are hot; people can't see all of these things, but it gets hot over here, But it was like we went through this massive period where people weren't doxxed and things like that. And then probably at some point, whatever that was, like beginning of 2023, it was like everybody started doxing, right? But they've kept their PFPs. So again, if PFPs weren't important, then you would have lost it back then. Most people in the space are doxxed at this point, right? And which is a good thing. I think it's very healthy for the ecosystem, and I think it's a good thing. I think the role of this content, right? When people hear Metaplex and now they see you, Steven, it's like that's important for them. It makes them feel more excited about what you're building when they see the actual humans that are doing it, right? When Jake's talking about everything that they're doing with Mutant, it's like, again, in SPL 404s, okay, cool. Now they get to know you, see you more, and again, that makes you appreciate the tech more. So, but at the same time, you go on Twitter, the PFPs are still there. Why are the PFPs there? Because they're important and we like the digital representation and we like the community aspect and all of that. So I think it's all very exciting. I think, again, like what you guys are building is very cool. I think we've got a great future ahead. So I want to know from you guys, like, what are you the most excited for in the next year? Outside, obviously, like, where we're at right now with the tech that you guys have built out and everything like that. But Jake, when you're thinking about what you guys are building and where you want to see it, if we're talking December 2024, what would you view as like a gigantic success when it comes to 404s?
So I kind of have this dream that we've innovated maybe not just the tech, but the economic and philosophical model that's going to be the next model. And so for me, what a huge win would look like is if people on Ethereum, people on Sui, people on other blockchains start seeing what we're doing and replicating it there. And I have heard that is starting to happen. And I've had a lot of conversations with people across chains who are very impressed by what we're doing with SPL 404. But I think we're really just at the beginning. And once we release more programs besides the swap, right? I think of, there's 2 or 3 things right now that I'm like eager to build to support this whole hybrid token community. Once those are out, and once I see that kind of distributed to other blockchains, I will have really felt like I've made that difference that I came to make. And genuinely, I know it sounds very corny. I know a lot of people are in this space to make a lot of money. But in fact, like I've missed so many of the meme coins because I'm actually busy working, trying to make NFTs great again. So if I'm able to really make that difference, I think, all the meme coin run-ups that I've missed will be worth it. All the calls I've missed in my group chat.
What are the biggest things that you're like right now when people are talking about 404s? What are the biggest things that keep them like from being excited? What's the most common, I guess, like negative criticism you receive?
Well, I think people really associate it with the NFT of the past, right? So there's a lot of just association bias, right? So obviously most communities or most projects that run NFTs fail, right? And now it's so funny because we talk about meme coins and there's like, 10,000 launched today, but there's only like 10, 20 of them that are important, that succeed, right? So the vast majority of meme coins fail. And yet this attitude people have in regards to different experiments, whether they're in the NFT form or fungible token form, are totally different, right? And so I guess people don't necessarily associate NFTs with, um, I'm not sure. I think they don't associate them with something that's going to be positive for them over time, right? And their expectations are just so vastly different. Where I kind of think that we're taking the fungible side and the non-fungible side and we're kind of merging them together. So it'll be interesting to see how their expectations change over time, because every project should have different utility, right? So we talked about Gogonauts a lot. They're backed by Rove. They're a company really trying to do something, right? There might be games that are launching, or there might be NFTs that are nothing more than just the identity layer of their meme coin, right? So there's actually this whole spectrum, whole variation, but I feel like people really color them all with the same brush with what their expectations are. And generally, if they don't have an opportunity to 10x over the next, few days, people seem not to be as interested right now in the space. And I think that's sad, but what we're doing is going to build a layer so that the next great game experience, right? We talk to a ton of game projects and we think this is like a better model for game assets and things like that. Once those become big, I think people will see this in a whole new light. Instead of just seeing it as like the gambling sort of meta, right? We're going to make a bunch of money. They'll actually see that there could be promise for NFTs, whether that's, Taylor Swift's community NFT or a popular game or, other type of use cases that we haven't discussed. Once those become successful, I think they'll just have a whole different association with NFTs.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. I think it's something where, yeah, when I think about like 2021, it was like, it started off with like there were no expectations. I remember one of the first NFT projects that I minted, they came into Discord afterwards and they're like, we're going to be honest, we didn't expect to mint out. So we have absolutely no plans with this. And I'm waiting for whatever the marketplace was at the time. I don't know, was it Solana art back in 2021? Like, and I'm waiting because that was back when you had to wait like 6 hours for that shit to get listed, right? And I'm sitting there like, man, the moment this is good, I'm selling this because I don't trust these guys. I don't think they got it, right? And so then you go from that to all of a sudden the over promises. We're building the greatest game you've ever seen in your life. We're building the greatest metaverse ever. And I remember thinking to myself at one point, like, bro, what the fuck is the metaverse? Like, truly, like, yeah. And I remember as I'm playing Fortnite, I'm like, isn't this kind of already the metaverse? Like, I'm talking to my buddies, like, I'm on this, they're right next to me in this game, but we're talking through headphones. Like, kind of feel like this is the metaverse. Are they really going to build something better than this? Because I kind of feel like they're going to need more than like $5 million. Like, I think they might need like maybe 500, And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, I think a lot of these promises are a little overstated, right? Now, does that mean that they shouldn't, drive any value? No, but I think the biggest thing is right now is like the community aspect is massive. The excitement aspect is massive. And people downplay that a lot. But again, if the NFT that you're rocking causes any sort of conversation, that's an important aspect of things. Again, I mean, I think if I didn't think my PFP was valuable, I wouldn't have it as my PFP. People know what my face looks like. I can make my PFP my face at this point. So why do I keep it my DGOD? Because I believe that allows me to get more answers from other people quicker. If I tweet out something, I feel like it gets more engagement. I feel like all of that. So again, there's something that NFT is giving me that my own face can't give me, right? You know what I mean? And so I think there's something about that, and I think we have to pay attention to it. But again, I understand the kind of hesitation that people have, but, if there's anything I know, it's like the space is really, really resilient. And I think we are getting to a point of, hey, we've seen all the shit that hasn't worked. Now we're learning from that. Again, we're innovating. And I think it's going to lead to really, really cool things. But for you, Steven, I guess, like, what do you look at in terms of, you've been in the space for a really long time now, too. Where do you kind of see this going? What do you think we can do better on? All of that.
In this cycle, I think the opportunity is expanding the social layer, like being able to successfully onboard new communities into crypto, and to have NFTs become the fundamental identity token in the Web3 stack. So while I think what we've seen are NFT communities and meme coins that are mostly social groups, when you look at like Web 2 versus Web 3 architecture, the big issue with Web 2 right now is like your identity sits as a row in a database of a centralized advertising company. You don't own your social graph. You don't own your data. And so I think both the onboarding of these new communities and then fully decentralized applications where instead of signing up with your email or your phone number, it's an NFT based token that's provisioning access and giving you entitlements to certain types of services and products and feature, to me would be a huge win and step forward in terms of building that fully decentralized tech stack. Because like the reality is that parts of the Web3 stack are there, but there are like big, massive pieces that are missing. Like the indexing and distribution of data, like the way that we resolve IP addresses, like the actual physical infrastructure of the internet. And we have the primitives in play. You have, Helium, for instance, like decentralizing that physical infrastructure piece. You have decentralized data networks that developers are using instead of the centralized alternatives. But that full stack, I think, has to include NFTs really sitting at the center of, what you would view as like the account from like a Web 2 developer's perspective. So I'm really excited to both like on, in the social layer from like a community perspective, like people who, like I think the opportunity that we have with celebrities and Web 2 brands is that they have huge audiences of people that that are maybe on the edge. They're like, I'm kind of interested in crypto, and they're looking for an excuse to get involved. I think there's a huge opportunity to bring those people in, but it has to be done in the right way. And I think like that's like incumbent on us, like everyone who's in the crypto scene that's working day to day. Like we have to be thinking like, how can we actually help that transition? So what happened last cycle doesn't repeat, where you have a bunch of these celebrity projects and these Web 2 projects, and they all just fail. And then people are like, this crypto thing probably isn't going to work, and they just write it off completely. And so I think like that test is going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
When I think of NFTs, I know we talked a lot about PFPs, right? And like NFTs, I think we're very pigeonholed to how NFTs used to be, right? But when you kind of like take a step back, you're like, okay, these are unique digital assets that hold data and show provenance, right? And it's like, there's so many more applications for NFTs, right, than just PFPing, right? I got really excited in 21 about, I used to play a ton of RuneScape, right? Like the whole tokenize everything inside of that RuneScape economy and that game being tokenized, and me being like, when I stepped away from the game, being able to like transact those tokens, like take them to my next game, right? If I could take the flaming sword from RuneScape, sell it, tokenize that, bring it into like a new gun skin in Call of Duty, right? Like this sort of experience, I know that sounds like far-fetched now, but really was what drew me in 21, right? So I just think there's actually so much more that can be done with this like token layer than we really talk about. And how do we, talk about like building Fortnite, right? Almost all these NFTs that come out talking about they're building a game really just say that they're building like an NFT that's like the social kind of layer for their game, right? And that doesn't really get to me to the core of what the opportunity is, that we could put kind of everything like in our digital lives on chain, right? And we could tokenize things to trade against each other. And I just want to make sure that I guess viewers don't just think of the future of NFTs as, these 10K PFP projects that we've all gotten so used to. I think the model is going to change dramatically, right? We've even seen kind of like people more going towards these one-of-one collections, right? Like I'm a hothead right now.
Shout out hotheads.
But there's amazing like Dead King Society, obviously Boogles, whatever, right? There's going to be these small communities. There should be these massive communities where there's millions of people, whether their NFT is recording data about, how many dragons they've killed or like, their KD ratio in Call of Duty, right? Like there's so many actual opportunities here beyond just what we started with in 21, which is just like the happenstance of history.
And we should give credit. The Solana games have gotten really good. Like that decentralized metaverse vision was early last cycle because it really takes like multiple years to build high quality games. But like Neon Heroes is great, Star Atlas is amazing, Seekers of Tokane, the Aurora game, super high quality. And so I think like that's the sleeper pick. I think I could see one or more or all of those games like really taking off and like breaking into the mainstream with like streamers and you know, like having the same sort of online metaverse experience that you do have in a game like Fortnite, but then actually having like portability of the assets and like the items and the skins, which won't make the game, but I do think enhances the gameplay experience. But I think the other lesson that we learned in last cycle is that like these game communities, these new Web3 game communities, are going to be organic. They're going to be new franchises. Like taking an existing IP, I think maybe even beyond gaming more generally, and trying to like turn that into crypto or like tokenize that existing community, I think risks alienating a lot of the hardcore fans that keep that community together. So it's also a really huge opportunity for new IP that's building that groundwork. And the games that have been spending like the last few years and like heads down in the bear market, I think are really going to benefit.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Parallel TCG. Shout out Shrapnel, who I met here.
Shout out Photo Finish. I mean,
Yeah, Photo Finish.
I think Photo Finish is one. You know, Sonny and I just went to the Kentucky Derby, right? And while we were there, I mean, it's like Photo Finish has a direct partnership with the Kentucky Derby, right? Which is super, super cool. And, you know, when we were out there, you know, we went to the Kentucky Oaks on Friday. We went to the Kentucky Derby on Saturday, and then Saturday night they had the digital Kentucky Derby at a venue in wherever the hell we were in Kentucky, Louisville. There we go. And but when we were there, you know, Sonny and I were talking to people around us and everything like that, and I'm like, you know, hey, so you guys are betting on these horses and things like that. Would you ever bet on a digital horse? And you know, and the feedback at first was like, you know, maybe. And then I was like, okay, what if it had to do with crypto? No, not doing that. Not doing that. There was one lady, I was like, do you have any crypto? She's like, no. I was like, are you opposed? She's like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. I was like, we still got a ways to go. Okay, we're gonna get there, right? But as we started talking to people and explaining kind of and showing them what Photo Finish looked like, they were like, oh, wow, this is like super, super cool, right? We go then later that night, we go to the venue, we watch the actual, Kentucky Derby, the digital Kentucky Derby, right? And, and we're sitting there around all these Photo Finish holders and they're rooting for their horses and things like that. And it was damn exciting. I mean, I was like, I'm watching this and I'm like, I'm jacked up about this. I actually think I might be more amped about this than the actual Kentucky Derby we were just at, right? So again, I think there is something about that like people can resonate with and find some excitement with and all of that. And I think, when you look at that and you go, okay, here's somebody who, Ian over at Photo Finish, worked for EA Sports and did really, really cool things with NFL Madden and all of that. Now he's taking that over to the NFT space and working on that with, with everybody over at Photo Finish and doing really cool stuff. Again, it's like, that's how we push that space forward. That's how we get people to eventually change their narrative that they do have. And then when you go back into like how NFTs can develop and evolve and things like that, I think about, okay, take NFL Madden, for example. If I create a character on NFL Madden, I become really passionate about this dude, and we're in franchise mode, and I'm in season 7 with this dude. We've built together, okay? This is my guy, right? And then I could essentially take that character and take it to Fortnite. That would be so damn cool. And I don't think that's some crazy idea. Like, I do think that's where eventually this tech will go. And then who knows? Maybe I, actually get a girlfriend and and I'm like, fuck, I can't play this as much. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I can take this dude who I've built up and I can sell this character, right? It would break my heart, but I would sell that character in that moment. It's like, that might be where some of this stuff is going, where you can go cross-platform. You can take, because we used to, when it comes to video games in general, it used to be that if you were playing on a PC, that was all, you could only play people on a PC. You were playing on Xbox, it was only Xbox. Now we've gone cross-platform. So why can't we go cross-game characters? Like, we're not that far off. And those are the things where I'm like, NFTs allow for a lot of this sort of stuff. They allow for a marketplace alongside these things. I've heard from other people. I was talking to Hannah Hughes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she was a big RuneScape person. She came over to the NFT space as a result of it, right? So again, I think a lot of these things can kind of marry together, and I think we just kind of wash out the bad taste that some people do have around NFTs and crypto and all of that. But again, it's like, dude, we're in the infancy of this shit.
The infancy. I mean, to your point, right, about the existing brands alienating by going crypto, right? We'll know we've made it when that's not the case. When the majority of people, when you say, actually, we're going to be doing stuff in Web3, we're going to be integrating tokens, and the majority of their customers say, hell yeah, let's do this. I'm excited about it, right? And I think it's something as simple as like, obviously you flew here, right? Airline miles, right? Rewards programs, like how to trade them against each other. How do those become tokenized experiences, right? genuinely, I think, not to show 404 again, but I really do think SPL 404 as like a framework to bring these non-fungible and the fungible pieces closer together is going to work for those experiences too, right? Not just the PFP project. So, I'm really excited to build towards that future, and that's the whole reason I'm here. Not just because I just want the PFP or shitcoins with pictures, right? It's like I really think we have an opportunity to make the world a better place, right? And reduce friction in all these different ways, and to build communities stronger and better than ever.
100%. And again, I think it's why these sort of trips are important. It's like, people ask me all the time, why do you go to the IRL events and everything like that? And I'm like, man, first off, we get to know the people that we met online, right? Like I met both of you guys online. Now we're together in person, and like we've now hung out in a few different states. And like I enjoy that, and I enjoy the fact that we can chat and get to know each other and all of that. And then, again, it's like we then showcase what we're doing and the fun that we're having, and that does cause people to ask questions, and there is something important about that, right? Because I think a lot of it, again, when you think about how streamers, like video game streamers, have changed the video game landscape, right? Like so many different people now go, oh wow, it's really cool. You've got people like Ninja and like Nick Merckx and all these different people who have Banks and all of that, who've built these brands around video game streaming, right? When if you told somebody back in 2005, like, oh, I play video games for 10 hours a day, they'd be like, okay, dork. Like, you know what I mean? And like now those people are like considered very cool and hip, and they're doing all these fun things and all that. But part of it is because they've documented what they've done, right? And that went from video game streamers to now you got people like Kai Cenat, who has built this gigantic platform for being a streamer and literally just talking to the camera. And there's something exciting about that. Aiden Ross, all these different people. So again, when I think about crypto, when I think about NFTs, I'm like, dude, I get the natural hesitancy people have. I mean, hell, half the time when I tell people I've got 2 podcasts that are NFT based, I'm like, yeah, I know what the thought that's going through their head is like, what the fuck is he doing? But I'm looking forward to us changing that narrative. And it takes, again, these conversations. It takes us showcasing the different things that we're doing. It takes us showcasing the cool tech that's being built, some of these games that we enjoy playing and things like that. It takes showcasing the communities and the cool aspects of that. I talk all the time. I've been able to meet some of my like best friends through NFT communities. Like that can sound as cringy to some people as they want, but it's hard to make new friends when you're 30 years old, right? So again, NFTs allow for a lot of cool things. We just have to accept that fact and get other people to understand that.
Yeah, part of the reason I think NFTs are worth saving, before I got into Web3, a long time ago, I threw parties. And the whole point of these parties, they were free to everybody. It was so people could make friends, right? And we would have all these different like things you could participate inside the party, like to get to know each other, right? To make friends. And the whole idea of this is called Body Talk. We did it for a while, was to help combat like loneliness, right? Because as our lives have moved more online, we've stopped showing up like for each other. And, things like people having sex, like kids aren't even having sex anymore, right? Like you see this in like Japan, right? But like the number of 30-year-old virgins, right? Or 40-year-old virgins is just going up, right? And like this is somewhat concerning, right? The number of people who say that they don't have at least like one close friend, that number is going up, right? The amount of people who are depressed is going up, right? So as we move our lives more online, how do we combat those things, right? How do we fight against the depression, right? And it is about growing those communities, and hopefully, this space can let like 1,000 flowers bloom, right? Have these different communities from all across the world just come together and improve people's lives.
100%.
So I've got a curveball here, though.
Okay.
So like something that I think has an off chance to maybe onboard a lot of people, right? So I don't know too much about it. You may know the name of it, but have you seen this new like crypto OnlyFans thing, Ansem's Angels, like and whatnot? Back to the whole idea of like Web3 making their creator and followers, like bringing them close together. Do you know OnlyFans takes 20% of all the profits that those creators make?
Yeah.
Right? And now we've got like crypto stepping in, and you laugh, but the internet, right? A lot of the early adoption of the internet was driven by pornography, right? People needed the pictures of boobies to load faster, right? So that's how like the bandwidth was improved over time. And
is that true?
It is.
So a lot of the video streaming technology was like was basically developed in the valley, like for
That's amazing. That's amazing. I had no idea.
companies.
Makes sense.
It's
Makes
kind of
sense.
like an open secret, right? Like
Yeah.
you'll meet people in tech who'll be like, work for undisclosed.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
So I think there's obviously an opportunity here, right? Like tons of people spend money on these platforms, right, all the time. And I think crypto has a way to do it better, right? And bring these people closer together, and hopefully they get more of their earnings, right? As maybe like YouTube, right, is like that middleman who's collecting all these things. So I actually think that there might be a chance that this is the killer app, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting. I've had a lot of conversations with people about that in the last week or so. Obviously, being in LA and being a former photographer, I know a lot about that kind of business and whatnot. And I think there are things that I'm looking to see kind of what they build out to see, safety practices and things like that, because I think that's very important. And so we'll see if they can incorporate a lot of that. But yeah, when it comes to, again, the tech of, with crypto in general, there's a lot of really cool things that you can build out. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of innovation in on a regular basis. I mean, even we've seen things like Fantasy Top, which I think is interesting, right? And all these things, I'm not saying that we have a bunch of like fully baked out ideas, right? I think we got a lot of ideas that are like really, they're like, they're warm. They're warm. They're not fully baked yet, right? Like you're looking at the oven and you're like, those muffins are not done yet, but they're close, right? And like that's what I think what we're building right now is we're showcasing to people. Yes, we have really cool tech. There are really cool things that you can do. Now, as we start to get, like, I know the one word that people never like, but a little bit more regulation, you're going to get some of these people who have already built really cool things in Web 2 that are going to come in and go, hey, now we kind of know more of the rules that we can operate in and things like that. We've actually got right now, knock on wood, holy shit, guys, we have bipartisan support for cryptocurrency in the United States. Let's give a round of applause for that. Shout out Malcolm D. Gods, who I think caused that, which is crazy. Crazy, but I think he legit might have changed the course of U.S. policy on cryptocurrency. So, again, it's like we're going to get a lot of these people come in, look at some of the things that we've built, work with people who are already building in the ecosystem to make these ideas that much better and that much more exciting. So, again, I think, again, when people think of all of this stuff, when you look at like social media, there were so many people who were negative towards social media in, 2006, 2007, who have now gigantic, proponents of social media, right? How many people's moms and dads told them back in 2006, we don't want you creating a Facebook, yada, yada, yada. That same mom or dad is all on Facebook nowadays. She's getting right. She's posting the most random photos on there, but they love that shit. The old people love Facebook, right? So Facebook Marketplace, it's developed even further. Now you got young people using that to buy and sell things, right? So again, it's like all these things develop over time. So I'm very excited to see what the next year does for us and the new opportunities and the new tech that's built out and these new applications and to see how they develop and everything like that. But I think to wrap it up from here, is there, for each of you guys, I guess, is there any alpha about what you guys are building that you want to drop that you haven't already said? Steven, over at Metaplex, is there anything that you guys are working on right now that you're super excited about besides the big announcement from this? But like, is there anything that you want to chat about or things that you're excited about in the next year? And we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, obviously very excited to be working with Jake on MPL 404. If you're a meme coin project and you're looking to launch an NFT community or an existing NFT project that wants to launch a token, like, we'd love to talk with you. It'll be in an alpha program for a period of time with the goal of then making all of this tooling self-serve for developers. What I'll say beyond that is I do think we are in the early innings of decentralizing a number of these different industries and markets. And so like my advice to anyone listening who has that entrepreneurial itch or who's a developer is to get into the space, to reach out, to meet with people who are on Twitter. I think Solana is one of the most friendly developer communities I've definitely been a part of. And then when you find that problem that you're passionate about, that like idea that just like you can't shake, Metaplex, we want to be there to enable you to then pick up the tools to then go build that product and to chase that opportunity. And so, would encourage everyone to drop into our Discord. You can shoot me a DM or Metaplex on Twitter, and we're really excited to just be able to support and work with so many entrepreneurs and projects. And really, that's what gets us excited, is like being able to be a part of those projects and companies that are building on this new foundation.
There we go. And what about you, Jake?
Absolutely. Well, I want to give a shout out to Metaplex and Steven. Like, for obviously supporting us and for kind of like seeing the vision behind SPL 404 and really, you know, taking this journey and like seeing, you know, I've obviously shared with Steven and the team like some of the roadmap and some of the pieces where we want to go and like trying to build this great thing over time. And like it really complements Core, which is the new token standard that came out, right? Which has its whole plugins ecosystem, right? And I think, you know, from my conversations with you, it's like you guys want to be fostering this innovation. You guys want to see like the plugins ecosystem, for example, on Core, be this place where developers can like innovate and like get exposure, and they want to help support you. And so it's going to be the same with MPL 404, right? Like we just want to support innovation and like bring this from where it's been to like where it's going, which is like a much, much higher quality experience, I think, for not only developers, but for creators generally than has been available.
100%, 100%. Well, hey guys, this has been awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I enjoy both of you guys. I appreciate everything that you guys build out for the space, because as somebody who just makes content around it, I can't imagine what you guys have to do to make a lot of these things happen on the back end. So I know I speak for a lot of people when I say I appreciate the work that you guys do, because I know a lot of times it probably goes underappreciated, but you guys are killing it, and you guys are a big part of the reason why Solana is what it is and how great it is. So appreciate you both, but drop your socials. Where can people find you, Steven? Where can they find you at?
Find me on X. It's meta_Hess.
Are we gonna get you tweeting
Find me
more
on the internets? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll be that's the meme with my team. They're like, tweet more. So
we're gonna get
I'll
you
be tweeting more. You'll see me more at conferences too.
There we go.
We're out there.
Bitcoin Nashville.
I guess maybe I will have to talk about it.
Solana Summerfest. Yeah. Oh yeah. And you?
Weedlechamp. I'm Weedlechamp on Telegram, on Twitter, on Discord. Very easy. It's two Pokemon smashed together, just like Mutant. WeedleChamp. I could spell Weedlechamp.
There we go. I'm proud of you for being able to spell. Look at us, Solana.
And thanks for having us, Marc. Appreciate everything you do as well. We've obviously a fan of the pod, so it's very cool to be here and join today.
Yeah, no problem at all, guys. So appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank
you
guys.
guys.
Thanks all.